It is. It's beautiful.
Oh, there we go.
On? Okay, good. It's hot out there. I expect a little breeze. When I was a kid, we had what are called greeters. Laguna Beach, there was somebody who always stand on the, now they call them homeless, but they used to call them greeters. They're all at the off-ramps now. I understand now. That's not fun. How many of you have heard David on the radio doing reverse speech? How many have not heard reverse speech? Wow, very good. Congratulations to all of you for coming out to hear this, because it's going to leave you with something you're not going to forget. It has to do with communication. Imagine if we had a lie detector that we could apply to human communication, human speech, that we could use with President Trump. I don't think we need one for him, though.
Amen.
Tillerson, Mattis, all of them, they're nuts. You're going to hear tonight their actual forward speech, and you will hear what they're really feeling and saying in reverse. And it's, let me just get to it because we have a lot to do. David is from Australia. He's going from here to England.
Wow.
And we're very grateful for him having stopped here. It's the only stop in America. And it's one Let me introduce a man who spent almost 35 years of his life investigating human consciousness and human communication. And I want to say one other thing. When you listen to the reversals, listen for the consonants. The T, the M, the P, the hard letters, the B. You'll key on those. There's a little bit of a, for you newcomers, a little bit of a sing-song rhythmic line to it in terms of pitch, but it's going to shock you, some of it. And ask yourself over and over again, what are the chances of this being coincidence? That you're going to come back with 0. There's no way. It just can't be. But I'll leave that up to you. David John Oates, thank you, sir. Come on up.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's good to see a good turnout. I'm pleased to see you there. We have a documentary film crew filming, so we've got cameras back there. We're halfway through making a documentary about me and reverse speech, so hopefully we're hoping to have that released in 2018. Film crews have been in Australia filming me and my whole operation, so and now they're following me around the world, so very exciting. 35 years ago, my life changed very dramatically. A very simple incident changed my life very dramatically. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and it was my birthday, my 28th birthday, and I remember the date very, very well. I was in the bathroom getting ready to go out through the night. This is back in my my single years, back in those days. And I was in the bathroom, listening to a Walkman, dancing to the music, when suddenly the Walkman fell out of my belt straight into the toilet bowl. And I pulled the thing out, and it was useless. I took it apart, tried to dry it out with the hair dried, and then I put it back together again, and it only worked backwards. So I had this totally useless Walkman that only played backwards. For some reason I kept it, I've no idea why. And then when I moved back to Australia, and a few months later I was running a halfway house for street kids. I'm a youth worker by profession, that's my early career. And one of the kids gave me a tape of an evangelist. And he was preaching that rock and roll is the devil's music. And if you take records and run them backwards, you can hear the voice of Satan. And I go, oh yeah? That sounds a bit weird. But I said, look, I've got a backwards playing Walkman at home. So let me go and put some of these tracks in and see what I can hear. So I got up my Walkman, I wired it up to my stereo, and I'm going to play you a couple of reverse backward messages I found in music right back at the very beginning. This is before I moved on to speech. So this is Creedence Clearwater Revival.
It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home.
Okay, I run in reverse. This is not a deliberate backward message. This is done quite unintentionally. And so you can hear him singing, I believe in my cool woman.
I believe in my cool woman.
Wow.
You hear that
I believe in my cool woman.
And that's straight backwards. Let me run the whole tape backwards for you, and you'll hear it amongst the gibberish.
I believe in my cool woman. My name was getting on fire.
You hear that amongst the gibberish there? I believe in my cool woman. So, okay, so I go, well this is very interesting. What on earth is this? So then here's another one I found in music. This is back in my early days.
He's worth a fancy fortune, but it's not in
This is Marilyn Monroe.
I'm gonna find my clay.
She's talking about finding her perfect man, and she sings backwards, he'll come out full of magic.
He'll come out full of magic. He'll come out full of magic.
So I'm scratching my head. This is back in my, my late 20s. I'm going, well, this is all very weird. What on earth is this? So I spent probably about 3 or 4 months running my whole musical collection backwards. And most people thought I'd gone crazy. My parents were quite concerned about it, actually. Especially when I went and asked my mum for the Hallelujah chorus. She said to me, you're not going to play the Hallelujah chorus backwards. Here we have a modern one. This is Miley Cyrus in the song Wrecking Ball.
We clawed, we chained our hearts in vain. We jumped, never asking why.
Are you familiar with Miley Cyrus and the videos? Well, this reversal won't be a surprise. This girl, Orny, she loves you.
Miss Bill, honey, she loves you. Miss Bill, honey, she loves you.
Typical Miley Cyrus. Yeah. Okay, so I spent 3 or 4 months running my whole musical collection backwards. I only found 2 or 3 what I could call satanic messages. The fundamentalists claim this is all satanic, but most of the ones I was finding had nothing to do with Satan or religion. They were things like I played you. Then in 1987, I got together with a good friend of mine, Greg Albrecht, and we decided to really research this thoroughly. And we decided to write a book. And the book about backward masking. So we went through all my notes and put it all together. Then we started to find this stuff in normal human speech. We never thought it would exist in speech. Currently it was just music, So I'm going to play a couple of examples in speech to start off with. This is Angelina Jolie.
I grew up kind of very aware of my own emotions.
I grew up very aware of my own emotions. Here, listen carefully. Tell me what she's saying backwards.
I am very aware. I am very aware.
What do you hear?
I'm very aware.
I'm very weird.
Very aware. Who heard very aware?
I am very aware.
Okay, let's do it again. Here we go.
I am very aware.
You hear that?
I am very aware.
So she says forwards, I grew up very aware.
I grew up kind of very aware of my own emotions.
Let me run it backwards.
I am very aware.
You hear that amongst the gibberish there? No.
Yeah.
Okay, let's play another simple example. This is Newt Gingrich.
It's an amazingly badly written bill.
Backwards he says this.
A real bad bill.
A real bad bill.
You hear that there?
A real bad bill.
Real bad bill. Let's run the whole lot backwards.
Wasn't a real bad bill. You see him, Minister?
So literally, if you take speech and run it backwards, about once every 15 or 20 seconds, you'll hear this very clear phrase amongst the gibberish. We spent several months researching this, running tapes backwards, and by the time we had about 1,000 or 2,000 reversals, we felt confident enough to write a theory. And the theory that Greg and I came up with was that language is bi-level, forwards as well as backwards. As the human brain is constructing the sounds of speech, it's putting those sounds together in such a way that we're saying 2 things at once. One forward from the conscious mind, and the other one in reverse from the unconscious mind. This is a natural function of language. There's nothing occultic or satanic about it. It's a previously undiscovered human sense. And so we wrote our first book, Beyond Backward Masking, which is on the table there. And you can have a look at that afterwards if you like. And let's play another simple one from a politician.
You do not lay claim to the office you hold.
it lays claim to you. Your obligation is to bring to it the gifts you can of labor and honesty, and then to depart with grace.
Okay, that's Bob Dole resigning from the Senate, and backwards he says this.
It's an honor. It's an honor.
What do you hear?
It's an honor.
It's an honor.
It's an honour. It's an honour to serve in the Senate. Let's run the whole lot backwards.
It's an honor.
Can you hear how that just jumps up out of the gibberish like that? Quite stunning. Okay, let's look at something a little bit more current. Here we have Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail, having a go at Donald Trump.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Calls women pigs.
And here she says, and I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you. And I'll scam you.
Very clear. And let's run the whole lot backwards. Here we go.
And I'll scam you, sir, and I am sorry.
You hear how that occurs amongst the gibberish? I'm playing it backwards so you can see I'm not altering the tape here. This is straight forwards and straight backwards. Some of my critics say, well, I'm altering the tape to make the reversals appear there. Believe me, it would take far much more work to alter the tapes to create a reversal than actually find the real one. So that's what we call an incongruent reversal. She's saying something different backwards.
She's asking if you could play it again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, here's the forwards.
And you know what? It also matters when he makes fun of people with disabilities. Calls women pigs.
Here it is, and I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you.
And I'll scam you.
There we go.
And I'll scam you.
Hillary was consistently incongruent throughout the whole election campaign, which is part of the reason why she lost. We are receiving reversals of each other all the time and recognising it as intuition. It's a communication process. I've got instances of entire conversations backwards with questions that are asked and answers are subsequently given. We've done electroencephalograph testing where we can see the brain actually receiving and responding to the reverse messages. So we've got more than just anecdotal evidence. We've got hard evidence that's in a new theory about language, so where all those tests are at. Donald Trump, on the other hand, in the election campaign was quite congruent. Now that changed after he got elected, but let's start off with this one. And here he's talking about Hillary Clinton's emails.
When he gave up that email thing, he said, "Here, Hillary." And you know what? That was orchestrated by the Democratic Party.
Okay, so he says Hillary backwards and email backwards. No, forwards. Hillary forwards, email forwards. And backwards he says, Hillary, let's see this email.
Hillary, this is...
You hear that there? Very clear. What are the odds of that occurring backwards by pure chance? The odds are incalculable. Let's run the whole lot backwards.
Do you
hear how it's got quite a distinct melodic tone to it? I've got to point that out. You'll hear the gibberish is very monotone, and the reversal has a sing-song melodic tone. Listen to this. You hear the difference between the gibberish and the reversal? That's one of the things I train my students to look for, that sing-song melodic tone. And you notice there's a space before the reversal and a space after the reversal. Very, very common. So he says Hillary forwards, email forwards, and backwards we hear the same words. Hillary, let's see this email. So the odds of that occurring by pure chance are just incalculable. So, all right, let's look at a couple of other amusing examples from politicians. We're going to go into Trump in depth further on, but here's Joe Biden praising our troops.
You're the most capable warriors in the history of the world. There has never, 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 never been a fighting force as capable as you are.
He says, you chicken.
Here's chicken.
Here's chicken.
Here's chicken. A little bit incongruent, that one. And that was Joe Biden. And here's George Bush talking about looking forward to working with the Senate, with the Congress.
There's time. to get all this done, and we look forward to working with the members of Congress to get it done. I'll answer a couple of questions, starting with Fournier of the AP.
Okay, when he says we look forward to working with the members of Congress, in reverse he says, choke the fuckers now. So he's being a little bit incongruent in that one, okay? So let's run the whole lot backwards. Once again, you hear you've got a pause before it, a pause afterwards, melodious sing-song tone.
Which Bush was that?
Sorry?
George W.
Junior. Junior. Yeah, George Bush Junior. Yeah. So we call that an incongruent reversal. What you are really thinking and really feeling will appear backwards in your speech. If you are lying forwards, you get the truth in reverse. If you are hiding information from your speech, that will also come out in reverse. The real you is what is speaking backwards. Let me move off of politicians momentarily. I'm going to play you a couple of simple examples to illustrate the point. This is what we call a lead reversal. It appears in conversation before the topic is discussed forwards. This is an Australian Aboriginal talking about how he found a whole extended family.
And I was about 30, 35 and I found out that my father was alive.
How did you find out?
It was just through word of mouth.
Okay, listen carefully. This is a thick Aussie accent. See if you can hear this one.
I am but older sister. I am but older sister.
I have an older sister.
Yeah, I have an older sister. Exactly right. The skeptics will tell you, you're only hearing these because I'm telling you to hear them, but this is about the 10th reversal I've played so far where I've asked you to hear them, and you're all hearing them. When we do classes, we will run the tapes backwards in front of all the students, and the student will hear the same reversal at the same time. You know, it's like, wow. So this is not all auto suggestion. These are phrases that actually exist. The brain can be seen responding to the reversals. So he says, I have an older sister, and look what he talks about next.
Something was said to you, was it?
Yeah, I just talked to different ones about it because I was sort of trying to trace one of my sisters.
So you found out that you had sisters and brothers?
Yeah, I knew all along I had one sister.
So what's the odds of that? Saying, I have an older sister backwards, and then saying forwards, I've got a sister. Okay? He doesn't say older sister, but we've assumed that it is. Here we have another one from a casual conversation.
Will ascend.
Oops, okay, here we go.
This is just one of many, many lifetimes where we are here to develop the soul, basically. And when that is achieved, the soul will ascend.
Okay, listen carefully. What's he saying?
I love you today.
I love you today.
I love each day. Yeah, I love each day. And this is what he says next. Oops, hang on. I've got very few room for mouse.
A different way to the normal person, sort of thing. To look at life differently and in trying to enjoy each day.
No, he says it backwards. And let's run the whole lot backwards.
Once again,
a pause, a loading sing-song tone, and a pause after the gibberish. Very consistent. Gen reversals will sound like this. They have that classic melodic sing-song tone. Once every 15 or 20 seconds of speech, as that often. They're occurring constantly throughout speech. Oh, here's a funny one. This is a guy I was going to do business with.
Well, we'll negotiate that with Anchor Point when we go over there, yeah. Yes, I agree with you. I agree.
That way, if we contain sole rights to the books, they're channeled through us. Now, are Anchor Point always going to be publishing this book?
They have options
this
on my next book.
This is one of my right-hand man, Jeff's favourite reversals. I'm so full of shit.
I am so full of shit.
Not a man you want to do business with. Not a man you want to do business with, okay? Ever gone into a business deal or venture and wanted to know whether it's going to work or not? Reverse speech will tell you. It will tap into the unconscious. It will tell you whether the business will be a success, whether it will be a failure. It will tell you what the pitfalls are. I have actually, surprisingly, I have more corporate clients, but I have about half a dozen corporate clients who will contact me for reverse analysis on their latest business decision or move they're going to make. So, and that's certainly one I don't want to do business with. And oh, here's another funny one. This is an example of future tense reverse. We're going to talk about that more as the lecture continues.
What did you say?
Future tense.
Okay.
Telling the future. Yeah.
And developing relationships with customers and prospects is not uncomfortable for me, but
And here he says there'll be an awful fuck up.
that'll be a roll for fucking up.
2 weeks after this reversal, he messed up one of his client's orders really badly and almost lost his job. So the reversal was an accurate prediction and looking into the future. Okay, so once I wrote my theory, reverse speech and speech complementarity, I had a question in my mind. When does reverse speech occur? When does it begin? Are we born with it, or is it a natural function? Do we learn as we go up? As fate would have it, in July of '87, I became the father of twin girls. So from the moment they came home from hospital, guess what I was doing? Absolutely right. I was taping them. I had the tape recorder out. For the first 4 months of age, I found nothing in reverse. But at 4 months of age, I found the first clear reversal. Listen to this. I run it backwards, you'll hear this very clear hello.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing? I'll do that again. That's at 4 months of age. Then one of my most favourite reversals of all time is this one here. I love this one. This is my probably up on the top 10 of my favourite reversals. This is my daughter in the bathtub. She's at 13 months of age, not talking yet, and she's trying to pick up a cup. She can't pick it up, so she reaches out to me for help. So here's the forwards.
What?
And the baby talk, and backwards she says, David, help me. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And amazing. Let's do it again. It's got that nice, beautiful sing-song, melodic tone to it. It's almost like she's singing. You know, it's such a wonderful reversal. I absolutely love that one. Okay. Here we have an example of what we call a mirror image reversal. I played you a couple of them earlier. I'm very aware, and the real bad bill. Here we have another one on a child.
You had sketty, and what else did you have?
Carrots, and milk.
And milk? Oh, then you had a nap?
Yeah.
Were you a good rester?
Yes.
Yeah? Say, I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hold on, say it again.
Bye-bye.
Where he says, I love you, Mama.
Say, I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
Backwards he says the same thing, with the dad saying, our mummy.
I love you, Mama.
Oh, Mommy.
I love you, Mama.
Oh, Mommy.
You hear that? Same thing backwards it is forwards. Here's the forwards.
Say, I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
And backwards.
I love you, Mama.
Mama.
Okay, forwards and backwards, mirror image reversal.
Say, I love you, Mama.
I love you, Mama.
And backwards.
I love you, Mama.
Mama.
There we go. So, classic mirror image reversal. So, children are speaking backwards before they do forwards. From as early as 4 months of age, they are pronouncing simple single words in reverse. So, the point 3 of my theory of reverse speech is that human language begins backward before it does forwards. The human brain the unconscious mind is developing before the conscious. Is anyone surprised about that?
No.
Not at all. So the unconscious is what speaks first, and it's speaking in reverse. So I've had some psychologists say to me, oh, that can't possibly be true. Children don't have the capability to speak backwards at 4 months of age. And I say, I'm sorry. You explain to me what they're doing then. So here we have an 8-year-old girl. This is also one of my right-hand man's favourite examples. This is an 8-year-old girl who's telling us about her subjects at school. And she's about to tell us a subject she's not good at, but she has a slip of the tongue.
And I'm quite a good girl, and I'm quite good at maths and English, but I'm not, and
You
science.
hear that little slip of the tongue? But I'm not. She's about to tell us something she's not good at.
English, but I'm not, and
And then when she has that slip of the tongue, she says this backwards.
I'm not telling. I'm not telling. I'm not telling.
No way she's going to tell us what subject she's not good at. So here it is again. Listen to it again, and I'll splice the soundtrack this time.
And I'm quite a good girl, and I'm quite good at maths and English, but I'm not telling. And science, but I don't know anything else.
So she's not going to tell us a subject she's not good at. So that's the point of that exercise. Okay, then we have. Okay. This graphically shows how reverse speech, the application of reverse speech has of working with children and child psychology. This is a young, 13-year-old girl who's been non-verbal since birth. She only speaks in groans and grunts. So, Mum sent me a tape of her daughter speaking. So here's the forwards. Backwards she says, "Mummy, love you." You hear that there? I'll play it again. I'll do it again for you. Here we go. Can you imagine the applications of this with working with handicapped people?
So it's like a handicapped person that is like Down syndrome?
I don't know what she had. I know she's handicapped. I don't work with Alzheimer's patients. They are communicating very clearly in reverse. Very poor English forwards, very clear backwards, telling us what they want, what their desires are. I've got one that says, "I have pain." And this is a woman who can't communicate forwards. I mean, yes.
We have an autistic foster son, non-verbal, and I have reversals of him.
Yeah.
Sounding out sounds, grunting, and
phrases.
Why?
Why the world isn't running with this is absolutely beyond me. It opens up the unconscious. It allows us to see who we are. Yes.
So, David, why then aren't reverse speech recorders on every shelf in every store?
I wish I knew the answer to that question. I have had no ends of trouble trying to get the word out there. I've been shot at, my house has been burnt down, I've been sued, I've been chased out of America.
That makes sense, because they don't want...
What part of America?
All of America. You would not believe the trouble I've had in trying to get this technology out there. People don't want the truth. They're really scared of it.
You got that right.
Yes.
For the one with the Alzheimer's, if they hear it in reverse, do they acknowledge that, yeah, that's what I was trying to say?
I didn't play it to the patients, I played it to the faculty.
Okay.
They gave me tapes and I went back to the faculty.
Because I'm wondering if the ears have anything to do with, if they hear themselves communicating what they were really trying to say. That would be interesting.
Right. Yeah, yes, sir.
And then I have one more.
Yeah.
Well, not being a tape recorder guy, when you tape record someone and, then you can play it back. But when you play it in reverse, you always see shows where it's gibberish, all gibberish.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you play it back real slow so you actually hear it?
I play it back at 85% of normal speed.
85% of normal speed?
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like you look at movies with FBI and police interrogating people. I mean, this is the first time in my life I've ever heard of this.
I know. Look, it's my biggest frustration, quite frankly, is getting the word out. I've lectured to crowds of thousands. I've been on radio interviews to 20 million people, and the word's certainly gotten out there, but I'm not getting much response. Yes?
I think I heard you once with something that Queen Elizabeth said with regard to Princess Diana's death.
Yes, that's right.
And in reverse, she was saying,
sell her, fuel it now.
We will profit from her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, quite devastating. Actually, ironically enough, I have a lot of YouTube videos up. The video I get the most hate comments on is the Queen Elizabeth
That's because all these people that are at the top of the echelon are all psychopaths, and they don't want the truth to come out.
Absolutely
about
right.
them.
This puts the truth in the hands of the people.
that's right.
It takes it away from the government and gives it back to you. I mean, this could create a revolution once it's released. Yes.
All right, now suppose you had a tape recorder there, and you asked me a question, do I believe in what you're saying? And I'll say, well, I sort of think I'm hearing what you're saying. Then you play it backwards, and I think, this guy's kind of a phony.
That's what I'm going to get.
You're going to get that?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get. That's what I'm going to get.
They-
All right, let's move on.
Where'd they burn your house down?
Huh?
Where did they burn your house?
That was when I'm living in San Diego.
Really?
Actually, here, look, we'll just digress momentarily. I'll play you a house fire. We actually got that example on tape because I was in session work with a client and the tape recorder was going, and my secretary ran in and said, "David, the house is on fire." Listen to this, and we'll run this one forwards.
Yes? What?
Something burning on the other end.
And backwards, she says the same thing. The house is on fire. Our house is on fire. That's backwards. Here it is. Here it is forwards.
What?
Something
And
burning on the other
backwards. Let me tell you something very interesting about the house fire. While the tape recorder, we all got out of the house, ran out of the house, and the tape recorder was still running. We caught two people in my office rummaging through papers, opening filing cabinets, talking to each other, trying to get the police to listen to the tape. They wouldn't take us seriously. The two closest fire departments, both of them had their fire engines out on that same day getting serviced. Took the fire department 45 minutes to come to our house. That's illegal. They're not allowed to do that. A Strange Universe ran a whole story on the house fire. A whole lot of...
The tape recorder survived too.
Yeah, the tape recorder survived. Yes, it did.
Sounds like 9/11.
My life has been like 9/11. I'm just a normal Aussie from the outback. I can't believe the trouble I've had.
Well, they've run,
Oh, we'll get to that in a sec. Yeah.
they've run Art Bell completely off the air too.
Yeah, well, that's another story too. All right, let's get back to current events. Let's look at Donald Trump before the election. This is why he won.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't notice Swedish people knocking down the World Trade Center. So why? I came out very strongly against the mosque being built virtually
And
across
so did
the
I.
street.
You and I were on the same page. Okay.
Here he says, America now. Okay? So he's putting America first. And he actually used the word America, dozens of times throughout the election campaign. Didn't find anyone else using it at all. Trump was the only one. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There he says, America, wake up.
America. America.
So he's putting out a rally call for America first. People hear the verse and they go, yes, Trump.
He said that he had seen or heard thousands of Arabs celebrating that, and the only celebration I know about were the dancing Israelis in Newark, New Jersey, and the police caught them.
Right.
You know about that?
I heard that story.
It was on Fox News. Carl Cameron was the reporter.
Celebrating what? Celebrating
9/11.
They said 9/11. They said they were there with their cameras. They were sent there to film the event.
Okay. So here we go. Here's Donald Trump again on the campaign trail.
The most important thing I showed in the debate, and as you saw, virtually everybody other than, some crooked polls said that we won the debate easily, was that Hillary Clinton, after being there for 30 years, has done practically nothing except
And
talk.
here he says they saw the crook.
This law.
You hear that one okay? You don't hear that one. Okay. That's a little bit unclear. So sorry about that. Okay. So he's calling Hillary a crook in reverse. And here he is again.
There's a big question mark on your head. And you can't do that to the party. You really can't. You can't do that to the party. You have to have certainty. Even if it was a 1% chance, and it's far greater than 1%.
And here he says, we hate Hillary.
We hate Hillary. We hate Hillary.
So if you didn't like didn't like Hillary Clinton in the first place, Trump's reversals cued into that, and you heard that and responded accordingly. He was very effective on the campaign trail.
I went to 2
However, once he got into office, things started to change.
Yeah.
Here he is when he's first in office. This is him sorting out his new role.
I have a method of fighting back. That's very
But you're going to do that as president.
I'm going to do very restrained, if I use it at all. I'm going to do very restrained. I find it tremendous. It's a modern form of communication. There should be nothing you should be ashamed of. It's where it's at.
And here he says, do you find your mission?
Inget man är beskedlig.
Inget man är beskedlig. Hear that there? Inget man är beskedlig. So he's thinking, is this what I'm meant to do? Is this my calling? Am I here to do something great? So he's settling into his new role. However, things start to change. Here he is talking about Mexico paying for the wall.
What's the difference? I want to get the wall started. I don't want to wait a year and a half until I make my deal with Mexico. So, and we probably will have a deal sooner than that. And by the way, Mexico has been so nice.
Okay, so saying Mexico's going to have a deal soon, backwards he says, they will not deal with us.
We will not deal with us.
Hear that one okay? So that's incongruent, it's contradictory. They will, he's saying forwards, will make a deal with Mexico, backwards they will not deal with us. Are we going to get a deal from Mexico to pay for the wall?
No way.
Ain't going to happen.
No way.
Never going to happen.
Not directly, anyway.
Yes.
Paraphrase this for me one more time.
Yes.
I mean, you know, the first forward answer, you know, we're going to build the wall. You play the tape backwards, and then the brain sabotages what he said forwards.
No, it's not sabotaging what he said.
Well,
see, it's built into the sounds of speech. As you are speaking, your brain is constructing the speech sounds, so you're saying two things at once, one forwards and one backwards. And what I'm doing is running the tapes backwards.
But I meant the reverse compromises the forward.
Oh,
That's
I
what
see.
I meant to say.
Oh, I see. Yeah. This is what we call an incongruent
the
reversal.
reverse shoots
Right.
down the first.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Yeah.
That's what we call an
But I mean,
incongruent.
this is just a phenomenon, it sounds like.
Oh, well, it's more than a phenomenon, but yeah, it's a phenomenon of speech. And if you're lying forwards, which Trump was, then the reverse corrects the lie. They will not deal with
But
us.
his subconscious was correcting him.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly right. His subconscious correcting him. We are made as humans to tell the truth. That is our essential nature.
Not to lie.
Hey? Not to lie. Exactly
so
right.
Consciously, we never lie.
We
It's the
never
conscious
do, not in the
mind
unconscious.
that does the tricks
And
with
so
us.
the brain has worked out ways to make us tell the truth despite ourselves. Body language is one modality we know very well, micromuscular movements, and subtle intonations of speech, and reverse speech, plus other unconscious forms of communication that we have not yet discovered. I'm actually finding some of them now, but I won't get into that.
Have you ever met anyone that can like control their backward masking?
Sorry?
Have you ever met anyone that can control their backward masking?
Control their reverse?
Or is it
No.
always true?
No
It's
way.
always true?
Can't control it. I've tried. I've tried lying. We've done tests. Can't control it. Yes, sir.
There was some notoriety back in the day with the popular music bands when they had some reversal stuff, like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Did you ever look into that? Or
Oh yeah,
why
well,
did it gain traction
yeah.
or something? Or?
I looked at that way back in the early days, but once I found it in speech, sort of like music, just went in the rubbish bin. Speech is where it's at. This is with the real significant. What people were hearing in music was the very first signs of this dual communication process, and not understanding what it was. As humans, it has to be the devil. You know, and so satanic message in rock and roll, which ruined the whole research. Quite frankly, I still get that crap thrown at me.
Because I've heard of backward masking, previously in music, but so you're saying the artist never intended for
No,
that
they
to
never
happen.
intended to do it.
Okay.
That's why they said we never put this here. You know, they're saying, gee, I don't know how it got there. The fundamental said, it's the devil. David Oates says, no, it's not. It's another form of human communication. We are all speaking both forwards and reverse. Okay, so let's move on. Here he is. He's just visited Saudi Arabia. Did anyone see that speech there?
Oh, yeah.
Gave a resounding speech how wonderful the Saudis were.
We're also looking at the potential.
So here he's talking about Saudi Arabia.
We're also looking at the potential of going to Saudi Arabia, and frankly, Saudi Arabia has not treated us fairly.
No, he's having a little bit of go at him. But backwards he says, "You're pathetic, full of sorrow." Oops, sorry. Let's stop.
That's trying to come full of sorrow.
Oh, well, I think you're talking about the Saudis. They're
The
pathetic.
Saudis, okay.
Yeah, I think he's having a go at the Saudis.
Okay.
His little idiosyncrasies are coming out. And here he is talking about Afghanistan.
Earlier this week, I spoke at a very historic summit in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia. And here he says, they buried us.
They buried us.
They buried us.
So what's he...
Buried us.
So he's incongruent about Saudi Arabia, praising the forwards, but backwards saying something totally opposite. So, and this started to creep into Trump's reversals soon after he was elected. The reversals started to be different. You remember how he said, "Wake up, America, America now"? So here he is after meeting with Henry Kissinger.
And thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
And here he says, "Forgive us, America."
Forgive us, America.
So that's changed. No longer, "America, you're the best. Wake up, America. Forgive us." What did you learn from Henry Kissinger? I would love to be a fly in that conversation. So, he is not as straightforward as what first appears.
Well, wait, maybe he's telling the truth that he's finding out these things that he can't tell us.
Right, yeah.
He's having to keep it
That's
hidden.
possible too.
So he is giving us the truth if we learn to listen.
That's possible too. Yep.
What's amazing is that you can't take the consonants and syllables and everything and turn them around backwards and come up with those
Oh, no, you
statements.
can't. No. It's to do with the exact way that you say your words at the time of speaking. Two people can say the same sentence and you get totally different reversals. It's got very little to do with the actual words we use, but it's the sounds of our speech. Yes?
What happens when somebody starts to believe their lies, like they become a pathological liar? I have somebody like that.
The truth still comes out in reverse.
But they really believe what they're saying. Of course it does, but I'm just wondering, how do they, it's because they lie, and they believe their lies.
Well, we all believe our lies. Show me a person who doesn't have a false perception about themselves.
That's absolutely true.
And that's where this gets very threatening. Right. Because, I mean, I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, look, David, I can take anything. Give me your worst." And I play in the reversals and they crumble. It's like, oh my God. When you hear your own reversals and tap into your own stuff, oh, it's the most powerful, emotionally moving experience. It's awesome. I get whole lives transformed using reverse speech. We'll get onto the therapy side of it in a second. Okay, so let's look at the current situation in North Korea. Okay, are we going to go into North Korea or not? Let's find out. Let's find out.
Well, there's a chance that we could end up having a major conflict with North Korea. Absolutely.
And here he says, "We'll fuck regime."
We'll fuck regime.
So he's ready to go in.
Two carrier groups over there.
Overthrow the regime is what he's planning. Then he says, here we have Tillerson talking about North Korea and China.
I think a lot of the Chinese, I think in the past the assumption has been the Chinese would only take limited action. We're going to test that assumption. We're going to test their willingness to help us address this serious threat that it's not only one to the region and to us, but is becoming a threat to China themselves.
Okay, he's trying to get China involved, and here he says, now they'll launch it if they're serious.
They'll launch it if they're serious.
You hear that?
They'll launch it if they're serious.
And again. So, launch, fuck regime. Let's have a look what else we've got here. Here we have matters.
Yeah, David, I can speak for both of us on that one. It was very clear that the Assad regime planned it, orchestrated it, and executed it. And beyond that, we can't say right now. We know what I just told you. We don't know anything beyond that.
This is Assad. He says, got to warn you, you want arrest.
Got to warn you, you want arrest.
And again, here we go.
Got to warn you, you want arrest.
So they're after Assad as well. Okay. So what they're going to do, I don't know. They already bombed them. So yes.
How can you explain that deep voice compared to the clear voice in the forward? Help me with that a little bit.
Okay. All right. Here's.
Get that deep.
Okay. All right. I'm slowing the speed down. Okay. So here it is at normal speed.
Got to warn you, you want arrest. Thank you.
And here it is slowed down.
Got to warn you, you want arrest.
So the tape's going through.
Yeah.
And it
I'm just playing it 3 times.
Slows the articulation.
Right. I'm sorry. That's my presentation format. Yes.
So in that little speech right there by Mattis, you know, he's basically stating a truth, like, okay, we know Assad did this, blah, blah, blah. I would expect in his reverse speech that there also another truth that's out there that is quite opposite from what Mattis is saying. You know, there's the other side that's saying, no, this didn't happen. So I'm wondering, is what we're hearing from Mattis, you know, what he truly believes, or could we hear from him if he knows that that's false?
Oh,
like,
if he knows it's false,
actually
he'd
the
tell
truth
us.
in what he's saying. That
Yeah.
what he's saying is false.
What he's saying is false?
Is what he's saying is false. That's what I'm expecting to hear.
Oh.
Instead of what I heard.
Oh no! All he's saying here is we intend to go and get Assad. So it's just an intention. Yes.
Do you have anything on the danger that Fukushima poses to the Pacific and to the west coast of the U.S.?
Oh, no, I don't. It's a major
We
problem.
need that.
Yeah, right. It's on my list of things to do. You wouldn't believe the number of requests I get every day for reverse analysis. I mean, we get flooded with them, don't
10
we?
emails a day.
Oh my
Yeah,
Would you please reverse this 3-hour
do
tape?
this. And I'm one man.
Yeah.
And in the whole world, we've got 17 trained people. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Now we've got one of our students here. Sharon? Okay, so next one along. Where are we going to next? Okay, here's Tillerson again, meeting with the Russian ambassador.
I want to inform Minister Lavrov of the State Department and express my appreciation for him making the trip to Washington so that we could continue our dialogue and our exchange of views that began in Moscow. The dialogue he hosted on a very broad range of topics.
And here he says, they're more careful, this will be blood.
They're all careful. It's equal. They're all careful. It's equal.
We got problems with Russia coming up. Yeah. He's talking about Russia for, he's talking about the ambassador. Listen again.
And express my appreciation for him making the trip to Washington so that we could continue our dialogue and our exchange of views that began in Moscow. The dialogue he hosted on a very...
Talking about Russian Prime Minister Lavrov, they're more careful, this will be blood.
They're all careful. It's equal. They're all careful.
I'm going to tell you, I don't like Tillerson. His reversals are full of war and anger and violence. He's just a really nasty man. He hears the whole lot backwards.
They're all careful. It's equal.
Once again, pause before it, pause afterwards, melodic, sing-song tone. I'll do it again, it's constant.
They're all careful. It's equal.
He actually says, fuck, they're more careful.
They're all careful. It's equal.
Sounds like miracle.
A miracle?
Or ought to be. I thought it was ought to be.
They're all careful.
Ought to be more careful.
Sorry? I can't make that.
Ought to be more careful. This will be blood.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
Can you do older recordings like Franklin Delano Roosevelt in relation to Pearl Harbor, which he moved heaven and earth to get the Japanese to attack?
Once again, on my list of things to do. Well, I'm really wanting trained people. I'm going to talk about training at the end of the class. We need train. The only way reverse speech is going to get out there if more people learn how to use it. I mean, it's like pulling hen's teeth trying to get people to take
But
training.
how can we do that without any way to play it backwards?
Oh, no, we've got software that plays it backwards. I have a training program. I teach you exactly how to do it step by step. Yes, sir.
You're still in the 20th century.
I'm a simple
like me.
person, and you know what I'm hearing you say, and that's just, and I have a question too, is basically your aura that you're manifesting, you're putting out to the world. When you speak, at the reverse side of it puts that aura out.
Yes.
Is this kind of what we're saying?
That's exactly what we're saying.
Then this is equally true in different languages.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, we've looked at 3 other languages so far: French, Spanish, and German. We've found it in every one of those languages. You know, if the theory is valid, then one would expect to find it in every language. But we've only looked at 3 so far. Yes.
I'm bilingual. I was born and raised in Mexico, and
Okay.
then came here.
You'll have reversals in both languages.
Yes, when I've actually done a reversal on myself with your software, it'll come, I'm doing it in English and it'll come out in Spanish.
Yeah, we've seen that many times. We've seen that many times. You can get reversals in both languages if you're bilingual. Have you ever found one that starts off in a sentence in one language and changes
then
another
goes into-
language?
yes,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
I heard that in one of your early
Comedians
jump
used to
lines. It sounded like he was speaking some Chinese.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it'll start off in one language and go to another. All right. So where are we? Okay. So here's Tillerson again. I've played Tillerson a lot, haven't I? This is a funny one on Tillerson.
So I think it is a very important trip on the President's part to call upon all people of faith in these religions to stand together for peace and stand up to this face of terrorism wherever it shows itself anywhere in the world.
I don't know what this reverse got to do with what he's saying for, but he says, is Hillary the devil?
Is Hillary the devil?
He's off the subject.
Hillary must have gotten under their skin, I reckon. I think Hillary must have gotten under their skin.
I really like the reverse speech that you had that we were listening to on YouTube, where Obama was saying, "Hail Satan, hail Satan," and you could hear it so clearly. Oh yeah.
So here's Mattis threatening North Korea.
We stand with our peace-loving Republic of Korea ally to maintain stability on the peninsula and in the region.
And here he says, give up, you evil. So, very strong language in reverse. And then we hear this one here, which is really makes me hope that I'm back in Australia quick smart.
Oh, thanks.
Together, with a spirit of collaboration, I'm confident we'll continue to provide for the security and prosperity of our nation and the region.
And here he says, seal the battle for nukes. So, there's a battle, seal, secure, make it happen. They are gearing up for a major conflict. Here's a whole lot backwards.
You hear that
there? Yes. I'll do it again. Here we go. So, war talk. Nuclear weapons. A lot of it. I'm worried.
So am I.
I'm worried. If you haven't got emergency food, go and get some. Okay? I can't get it in Australia. It's driving me crazy.
Well, goodness, you're good at this if we get nuked.
You'll live a little longer.
What can't you get in Australia?
I'm sorry?
No freeze-dried food?
No, I've got to get it from America. Yes, Jeff? Oh, okay. And here's what they're going to be doing in North Korea.
And to have appropriate burden sharing, responsibility sharing. We're looking at that with our great ally, South Korea. We're looking at that with NATO and what you've seen. But because of the President's leadership, more and more nations are contributing more to our collective defense. So the question...
And he says, a weapon killer way with us.
The red needle away with us.
So what that means, they're going to take out their weapons. They're going to take out their strategic posts. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's certainly war talk in reverse, and it's a bit of a worry. Okay. So, yes.
I wanted to say that I went through a period of time where I could see subliminal messages on the TV, like in the blinks and between the commercials and between
the
break, you know, in between the frames or not. When it changed scenes. Totally, I was about 3 months only. And then they switched them up and I didn't see them anymore. But they were so satanic.
It was what, sorry?
They were satanic.
Oh, were they?
They were very satanic. And it was really scary. And I just felt like they were trying to brainwash us. To focus on the negative, you know, and like believe in that evil to empower them more. But I'm also wondering, do you think like the people that are speaking, like their voices could be dubbed? You know what I mean? Like it might not be an evil person, but whoever dubbed it.
Well, you can't manufacture reversals. You can't insert them.
So no.
Well, subliminals you can, but we're talking about reverse speech, which is totally different. This is a natural
function. And you don't
function.
think it could be like dubbed before it's broadcast so that it has that reverse in there to brainwash us?
You can't. You can't manufacture. You can't insert reversals.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
So much more news is just lies to get us to focus on and dwell in the negative. You know, so much of the news is even.
Well, you're talking about subliminals, which is a bit different from reverse speech. So,
would you explain
that? Oh, sure. Yeah, well, subliminal advertising is something that's used quite a lot, and it's where the mind is given subliminal messages. They can either flash images very quickly between frames on the screen, like buy Coca-Cola, eat popcorn. Also, some of the shopping centres are actually using subliminals embedded into the music, backwards or forwards at a very low speed, very low decibel level. But the difference is subliminals are man-made. They are manufactured by man, yes, and you can hear them. Reverse speech is not manufactured. It's a natural function of the mind.
Okay, so they're actually running tapes and putting stuff on them backwards. Is that what you mean?
They are using backward messages, yes they are. But that's not reverse speech, that's different, that's engineered.
Okay, so they want us to hear that.
Right, yes, yes.
So, am I understanding right that it's your sense that we hear all of those things?
Yes, we're all hearing them. You're hearing me. You're getting a sense whether you like me or trust me or not. That's based on my reversal. Gee whiz, I better be careful. Okay, so we have looked at reverse speech and music. We've discussed the theory of reverse speech. Language is bi-level. We've looked at reverse speech in children. We've looked at the political applications of reverse speech. Let's look at some of the criminal applications of reverse speech. This is Patsy Ramsey, the mother of John Benet Ramsey, the little beauty queen who was murdered in Boulder back in 1796.
We feel like there are at least 2 people on the face of this earth that know who did this. And that is the killer and someone that person may have confided in.
So she says the killer and someone that person, referring to the killer, may have confided in. Backwards, she tells us who that person or the killer is. Listen very carefully what she's saying.
One person.
Whoa.
What she say? I'm that person. Who heard that? I'm that person.
Yeah, she told her.
Yeah, absolutely.
One person.
I got reversals that explain the whole thing. I won't go into it. I don't have time, but I've done whole programs on Patsy Ramsey.
Wow. Have you ever tried to prove your theory by having a person say something or say a paragraph or two, and then after counseling, you come back and repeat the same thing?
Oh.
Does it come different backwards?
Oh, yes, it does.
It does?
Oh, yes, it does.
Because of what their mind went through, huh?
Exactly
so
right.
They're saying it the same way forward, but what
you'll get something different because you've changed the unconscious. We're going to get into that towards the end of the lecture.
You've done that.
Yes, yes, I have. Often, many times. Yes. Okay, so that's Patsy Ramsey. I'm that person. And here we have Scott Peterson. He's currently sitting in death row in California. He was suspected of murdering his wife to cover up an affair. Scott Peterson. Yeah. So here he is being interviewed. The reporter says, "Did you murder your wife?"
Did you murder your wife? No, I did not.
And backwards he says, "Neck, I hit hard."
Neck, I hit hard.
Of course he
Neck, I hit hard.
When they found her body, she was decapitated.
Oh.
So what he did was,
hit her so hard.
neck, I hit hard. Why the police are not using reverse speech yet is a complete mystery to me. I gave a lecture in Washington DC in '91 to the FBI, the CIA, Secret Service, Naval Intelligence. Gave a 5-day workshop. They were absolutely spellbound the whole time. They said they were going back and research it. I know the FBI, when my book Hidden Messages came out, bought 21 copies. What they're doing with it, I don't know.
And then they burned down your house.
Exactly.
Wow. Surprised me. I have faced no end of opposition with this.
They're the biggest criminals on the planet. They are.
Yes, sir.
I just had a weird thought. Is it possible? I know we can't communicate verbally with animals, but
say that again.
We can't. We really can't communicate verbally with animals. Let's say dogs or cats. But if you reverse their speech, could they try to communicate with us?
I don't want to get into that. I have very simple reversals, I am animals. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get into that in this lecture. All right, okay. So here we have Joran van der Sloot, who was suspected of murdering Natalie Holloway. He's currently been arrested for murdering, in jail for murdering a girl in Peru.
Kids of them had a driver's license, but not all of them.
And here he says, "What a murder."
What a murder. What a murder.
Very clear.
What a murder.
This can solve all the unsolved mysteries out there. We've just done a whole bunch of work on the JFK assassination. You should go to jfkassassinationsolved.com because it's all there, exactly how it happened, who fired the shot, everything. Okay, let's move on to reverse speech in therapy. Okay, this is where I think this is probably 90% of all my work is using reverse speech in a therapeutic context. I've gone the route of therapy, well, because that's my background. I'm a youth worker. My dad's a minister, well, was. He's retired now, so I was raised in the church. Dad's a mainstream preacher, not fundamentalist, and always been very, very compassionate and concerned with helping people. So I grew up following in Dad's footsteps. I'm still doing it now. I'm still preaching my sermons, except I'm doing it on reverse speech. So I took reverse speech into therapy. When I first, I first started working with therapy in '88, and I used to work for a therapist in Brisbane, and she would send me her clients. I'd do reverse analysis of the clients and send her back the transcripts, and she'd go and talk to them about it. But I found that reverse speech will tell us what is wrong with a person. It will tell us how to fix them. It will tell us issues and problems that you have. For example, here's a woman who's talking about money issues.
She and I need to work this issue out, but it started to bring up all my money fears and stuff. And the thing is if I know I start sourcing fear again, I'm going to go way downhill.
And here she says, work on my grief.
Work on my grief. Work on my grief.
That's a straightforward command. This is her unconscious telling us that her financial problems are to do with grief. And so to fix her financial issues, we have to heal her grief. Now, there is not a tape that I will do which does not tell me what's wrong with a person and how to fix it. Because you're tapping into your unconscious. And your unconscious knows you, it knows what the problem is, it knows how to fix it, it knows what the consequences are. So, in therapy, I'm cheating. Because it's not me diagnosing, it's the client who's diagnosing, and it's not me telling him how to fix it, it's the client. Here's a woman who's got depression issues.
I started doing something about my life, about the situations that I found myself in.
Here she says, need more sunlight.
Need more sunlight. Need more sunlight. Need more sunlight.
So in order to fix her depression, we've got to give her sunlight. Okay? Exactly right. And so reverse speech will come down and tell us. Do you realise that most of our problems that we have in life are because we want them to be there? We unconsciously choose for them to be there and we create them. Reverse speech tells me that we are the creator of our life. If we have a problem, if our neighbour is beating us up, it's because we, on our own mind, has done something to create that, which gets very intimidating because it gets down to personal responsibility. Here's a man who's talking about his girlfriend and the problems he's having with his relationship.
Where do you see the future of you and Sarah?
I think that that's something that changes a lot, but it's also, I think, become somewhat of a day-to-day thing with us.
And here he says, but I must muck it.
But I must muck it.
But I must muck it.
That's an insistent. I must ruin this relationship. I must do whatever I can do to wreck this relationship. So, his unconscious mind is going to go out and create a scenario where he upsets her or does something, but he's going to mess it up. Yes?
Was you saying I'm going to muck it or I'm going to muck in?
No, muck it up. I'm going to muck it up.
Mess it up. Because if he's Australian, he could well be saying, I've got to muck in.
Oh, okay.
I've got to help it.
Muck
in, help.
No, it's a T. It's a T. It's a T. What? Yeah. Look, actually, that's. Let me just pick up on that point momentarily. Yeah, there can be interpretation issues with what the reversals mean. Does it say this or does it say that? We're arguing this in class all the time. I've developed a whole series of checkpoints that reversals must meet. There's 7 altogether. Is a syllable count correct? Is a consonant vowel saying clear and precise? Are the beginnings and endings of the words clear? Is there sufficient spacing between the reversals, between the words of the reversal? Does the reversal have a melodic sing-song tone to it? And there's 7 points altogether that reversals must meet in order to then be documented. These checkpoints that I've developed reduce the imagination factor dramatically. Okay, and so my whole training is centered around accuracy. You must be accurate and must hear what is there. Is it an it or an on? Is it an up or an out? And so these are all questions that we're constantly asking each other all the time. Okay, so okay, here's another woman who's got creating her own behavioural issues.
Fear of doing it on my own, although there's another part of me that likes to do it on my own.
And here she says, I am wanting you grief.
Oh, I am wanting you grief. Oh, I am wanting you grief.
Here,
oh, I am wanting you grief.
So what's going to happen in her life in the next week or
She's
two?
going to create herself some grief.
Exactly right. We create and make our world. Everything that happens to us is because it happens in the unconscious mind first. Yes, sir.
I have numerous times when a person calls wanting to be my client, done reverse speech on the voicemail.
Oh,
30 to 40 seconds. Most of the time I have already known what the issue is.
Yeah.
Occasionally what the solution is, just based on the voicemail. And by the first session or the second, I will play it in reverse and proceed with therapy.
Yeah.
Simply having used the voicemail.
Yeah, incredible.
It works.
David?
Yes.
So what you're saying is in therapy, this underlying cause manifested itself. Once that underlying effect or cause solves itself, that person then speaking to you their reverse speaking would bring something else out?
Yes, it will. Yes, I'm going to play some examples. Okay. I'm getting to that very thing. Okay. All right, and here we have a woman who's in an abusive relationship.
And I was really surprised where that came from, and that I even allowed him to even get back into my head like that. I was shocked.
I was shocked that I allowed him to get back into my head. But backwards, she says, make him abuse me.
Make him abuse me. Make him abuse me. Make him abuse me.
So.
That totally makes sense to me, because people that are abused from a very, very early age is embedded in children.
Now, I'm not. I'm not saying this is necessarily this person's fault. This could have been a lesson she learned in the womb, or reverse speech tells me that the first 3 years of our life, all the foundation stones for a whole life are laid down in those first 3 or 4 years. And a lot of the behavioural patterns that we run have all been formed back at then. So it's so important to give your kids a good upbringing. I just can't tell you how important that is. All right, let us move on to metaphors. Now, all the verses I've played you so far have been in straightforward everyday English, okay? But by far, the vast majority of reversals speak in metaphor, using words like wolf, Lancelot, goddess, Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, Camelot, Merlin. And reverse speech is rich with metaphorical images. And that's because the unconscious mind thinks in pictures or thinks in metaphor. This is how human behaviour is formed. This is one of my greatest discoveries with reverse speech. And is that we think in pictures or metaphor, and human behaviour is created from a metaphoric matrix in the deep unconscious. Okay, let me give you a couple of simple examples of metaphors. Here's a woman who's talking about having success in her business.
It's going to kick off quickly. We'll have some bugs to work out, but then after that, it's going to really, really catapult.
Okay, so she's speaking quite positively forward. The business is going to catapult. But backwards, she says, I go with slum.
I go with slum. I go with slum.
You got that?
Yeah. I go with slum.
Slum, S-L-U-M. Slum is a common metaphor in reverse speech. It means poverty, lack of money, lack of success. So she's saying I'm going to be successful, but she's running a metaphor of a slum. And so she's not going to be successful. She's going to create poverty. She's going to fail. So the question is, how do we change this behaviour? What do we do to change this woman? I'll get onto that in a sec. Okay, so let me play another clap. This is probably one of my most favourite reversals of all time. This reversal is actually on me, and I'm talking to a client who's got a motivation problem. So here we go.
You strike me as a very enthusiastic guy. I mean, certainly the time we've been together and you've got all full of ideas. Is this latest, is this just a latest idea? Is it just all froth and babble, or do you really want to get out? Do you really want to...
And this is me recognising the client's problem, and I say backwards, see the wolf fallen in the lake.
See the wolf fallen in the lake. See the wolf fallen in the lake.
Let's run the whole lot backwards for you. Listen to this. The pause before it, the pause afterwards, has this melodic sing-song tone through it all. So, what on earth does this mean? See the wolf fall in the lake. I have documented over 1,000 metaphors in reverse speech. I've written a metaphor dictionary describing their meaning.
Wow.
I've determined the meanings of reverse speech metaphors by looking at the forward dialogue. Reverse speech is complementary. Reverse speech relates to the forwards. So if I see the word wolf, if I see someone talking about motivation and drive, and the wolf comes up, sorry, hang on, I lost my train of thought. So the way I've determined the meaning for the metaphor wolf, for example, is that I've noticed that that as people talk about motivation and confidence and drive, they use the word wolf in reverse. wolf is a metaphor, drive and confidence. The word metaphor goddess means hope for the future. Another common metaphor, lake, is emotions. So when this person says, see the wolf fall in the lake, he can no longer motivate himself because he's drowning in a sea of emotions. Okay? So the metaphor is translated. So how do we change this client's problem? This is this is the problem that first surfaced in the early 90s. This is before I was doing any change work, and I would give my clients their transcripts, and they say, "Well, this is all very well, David. See the wolf fall in the lake. My goddess has a sword in the side. What do I do to fix this? How do I change it?" I'm going, well, let me see. Anyway. To cut a long story short, I went and did a couple of courses in neuro-linguistic programming and hypnosis to give me some tools to work with, and I developed the theory over a period of 2 or 3 years that the unconscious thinks in pictures or metaphor. So my question was, if we change the metaphor, can we change the behaviour? So how do we change the metaphor? Well, I developed a technique which I call Metaphoric Structure. It's a form of hypnosis. The basic theory is the human mind thinks in pictures or metaphor. If you change the metaphor, you change the behaviour. So the guy whose wolf was falling in the lake, I'll get him to visualise a wolf drowning in lake. Now the first thing I notice is that the clients will see the pictures very clearly and very vividly. I have people who tell me, oh, I can't be hypnotised, I can't visualise, I have no problems getting to see an image. Do you know why I have no problems? Because it's their reversals, it's their metaphors. I'm talking to their unconscious using the language of the unconscious. It's why I have no problems accessing a very deep state of trance. And so I'll literally have a guy see a wolf in the lake and have him pull the wolf out of the lake. And as we change the picture, we're changing the metaphor. And the behaviour changes, and his motivation comes back. I can do this in one trance. This guy could spend 6 months in therapy and still be no further ahead. Reverse speech tells me exactly what the problem is. Okay, now, once I know what the problem is, this is where it gets even better still. Reverse speech tells me how to fix it. Okay, so I do a recording with my client. I'll tape them, I'll tell them the reversals, and I'll do another recording where I say, how do we change this pattern? What do we do to fix this up? And remarkably, the client will tell me, but the client will tell me in metaphor. For example, so this is a salesman. It's already open? Oh, right, okay. So this is a salesman. I've done my initial session with him, and he had a reversal that said, I have a devil in me. So I'm talking to him, how do we change this devil? And he says, this is a bit off topic, the answer, but he says, maybe I should make some new pamphlets.
I guess there's those two things. I don't know how much information you have to put in a pamphlet and whether to have some information pack to send to them. There's two ways I could go. It depends what this looks like, whether that's sufficient or whether there's too much for that.
And here he says, see the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
Se the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
Wow.
Se the whirlwind to shift this devil out. Se the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
So I will literally have my client see a devil standing in a field, and a whirlwind comes along and takes him away. That will change the pattern. Because the unconscious knows what the problem is, it also knows how to fix it. And it's going to tell me, and it's going to tell me in metaphor. All the answers come in metaphor. Well, not all of them, majority of them come in metaphor. And at the deepest level of consciousness, this is how the unconscious mind works. This is what Carl Jung, his whole life was all about, was the metaphorical structure of the unconscious. If Carl Jung was still alive, he would have beaten the door down to reverse speech. Okay, so here we have another instruction.
I was just visualizing the whirlwind, visualizing the wolf like we used to do because we've done it before.
Absolutely.
And it's bringing that power and that life force, and I guess that's something that happens.
And here he says, see yourself full with love gives me whirlwind.
He's accountable when how to give them wrong with. He's accountable when how to give them wrong with.
So I would have this man seeing himself full of love, which in reverse, which is the colour blue. So I'd have him radiate with blue and see a whirlwind around him. Okay? Very common metaphor, the whirlwind. Wolf and whirlwind, probably two of the most common metaphors of all. Okay, so now getting onto your question, once we've done the change work, then the reversals will tell me what's happened. So here we have one client.
And they were interested in the theory. So I spent about a month or so preparing it for them so that they could understand it. And it was the MS Society of Southland.
And here he says, healing that wolf.
Healing that wolf. Healing that wolf.
So that tells me that the meta walks or the trances that I have done with him have actually made a difference. And here we have another client.
Yeah. I also enjoyed the scene in the vineyard.
She says, I enjoyed the scene in the vineyard. The back where she says, living in the earth with joy.
Living in the earth with joy. Living in the earth with joy.
Now this is after I've done the meta walks. Okay, so, the meta walks. Sorry, that's what I call my hypnosis sessions. It's a combination of two words, metaphor and walkabout. Walkabout comes from Australian Aborigines and their spiritual journey into the outback, and metaphor, of course. So a meta walk is a spiritual journey through the metaphors of the unconscious. That's how I got the name. So I do a tape, I report the results, I then do another tape, recording. I'm 34 years out of date. So we do a recording, I report the results, we do a second recording where I say, how do we fix this? Then I do 2 meta walks. They're about 15, 20 minutes each. All this is done over the phone. Then I do the follow-up tape, what changes have taken place. This is where we compare the before and after. And then I do one last final meta walk. And here we have another post-trance example.
With the feedback from the reversals that I've done with it, it's for me it's not hard anymore. It's really lovely.
And this one says, Spirit and the Goddess will serve her.
Spirit and the Goddess will serve her.
Spirit and the Goddess will serve her. So we know we've had a good impact with this client. Okay. All right, so let's go even deeper still. Do you want to go even deeper?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're getting down there. Okay, so let's okay. I want to play you an amazing reversal. This is JFK's Inauguration Address, okay? This is when he became president.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
Backwards, he says, head is hitting the car.
Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car. Head is hitting the car.
He's looking into the future. It's a premonition. He is seeing what is going to happen to him. Reverse speech is beyond time. It goes into the past, it goes into the future. It will tell you what is going to happen in your life over the next few months or weeks or years. The head is hitting the car. Here we have Bill Clinton in his second inaugural address.
In the last 4 years, we've made remarkable progress, but in our schools, our families, our workplaces, and our communities, our journey is not done.
And here he says, world will come to damn you.
World will come to damn you.
And what happened in his second term? Monica Lewinsky and impeachment. The world came to damn him. So he is also predicting his own future. Reverse speech will look into the future. What happened soon after Donald Trump got into office? Here, I'll show you.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute that.
And here he says, I'll see you in the lawsuit.
I'll see you in the lawsuit.
I'll see you in the lawsuit.
What's happening right now? There's a big lawsuit over the country, but the immigration...
Travel ban.
Thank you. Yes, travel ban, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so reverse speech taps into the infinite. Here's a reversal on me. For me. This is a client of mine. I found this reversal in June of '91.
That I said that, I will be an open to souls and make the most credible feeling of my heart chakra just bursting wide open.
Here he says, soon plan evil on America.
2001.
2001. Sorry. Hear that?
Who's this?
This is a client of mine in Australia who's talking about psychic abilities. Soon plan evil in America. What happened 3 months after this tape? 911. He was tapping into a future event in the United States. Quite an amazing, incredible reversal. Then I found an amazing reversal on me 2 years ago. I was doing a radio interview in London, and one of my analysts analysed the conversation for reversal, and we found this reversal on me. Here's the forward.
It's the most powerful way, because you can hear it in straightforward everyday English. But yeah, we are hardwired to tell the truth.
And this reversal says, on a highway, there's a chill here.
On a highway, there's a chill here. On a highway, there's a chill here.
So my lady analysed the reversals, and she brought it back to me, and she said, okay, we've got this reversal. On a highway, there's a chill here. No idea. Didn't mean anything. 2 weeks later, I'm in America. Jeff lives in Bend, Oregon, or just Bend.
Outside of
Bend. Yeah, outside of Bend. So I'm on the plane, I'm flying to see Jeff. The plane arrives at Bend Airport, but it can't land. The airport snowed in, so it's turned back to Portland. Okay, so intrepid me, I'm going to hire a 4-wheel drive. Drive to Portland and drive to Bend. 20 minutes down the road, I'm in a blizzard. I mean, this is an Aussie. I don't know snow. And I'm driving this blizzard on the wrong side of the road. And I'm living the reversal. On the highway, there's a chill here. So, and there's no way. I hadn't planned on driving to Jess. I'm planning on flying. I didn't know the plane was going to be turned around and I had to end up driving. So we got a snapshot 2 weeks ahead in my reversals. Stunning stuff. Amazing. This is incredible.
It's amazing because Australians think a 1/4 inch of snow is sledding material. We had 3 feet that night.
It was devastating.
Well, how did you get saved? How did you get out of being...
I drove 10 miles an hour until I got there.
You did?
Yeah. Okay. My next book, which I'm starting to write next month when I get back to Australia, is entitled The Small Still Voice. Okay? And it goes into the whole spiritual aspects of reverse speech. Reverse speech at its deepest levels, get down to the level of the soul. It talks about all sorts of issues. For example, here let me give you an example of Voice of the Soul. This is a client, not a client, a reverse speech analyst who's talking to his tape recorder about financial problems.
Does it further for us to put more energy and money and effort?
Okay, what's he saying backwards? This is a really clear one.
You're fighting, lean on me.
You're fighting, lean on me.
What do you hear?
You're fighting.
You're frightened. Yeah, you're frightened, lean on me.
You're fighting, lean on me.
See that?
You're fighting, lean on me.
This is his spirit talking to him, saying, I know you're frightened, trust in me, lean on me. How many times have we gone into prayer and meditation to hear that small, still voice within? Well, guess what? With reverse speech, you can hear it in straightforward, everyday English. I think that's really exciting. I mean, that's incredible stuff. This is going to tap into who we are as a species, our spiritual destiny. It's going to open the collective unconscious. It's going to
That would be awesome.
When I get to this level of reverse speech, I get excited and frustrated equally, both at the same time. I'm thinking, this is such an incredibly powerful, amazing technology. Who's going to see it today? Who's going to grasp it?
Well, it's similar to dream work. You know,
Yes,
I've been
that's
doing
right.
dream work for 30 years.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
It's similar, but you don't get this instant. I mean, you can try to incubate a dream to get a problem, a solution to a problem. But I mean, this is
Direct access.
This is using technology.
This is direct access.
Yeah,
direct access. You're
And
absolutely right.
David, you wouldn't talk about the animals, but I have rescue animals, and the way I communicate with them most effectively is sending images.
Yeah.
No sound at all, but just images. And that's the way they communicate.
I totally agree. All right, here we have a reversal on me. This is, I just returned to Australia from living in the United States. I came home rather a broken man, unfortunately. I had a very nasty lawsuit, and I had dozens of death threats, thousands of hate. Jeff will tell all about it. It was a horrible time. And I went back pretty much a broken man. And then when I was home only for a few months, my son died. And, he was going to follow in my footsteps. He loved reverse speech. That's all he did, wasn't it? Just headphones on his ears, running tapes backwards, and he drowned. Very sad.
Now, how do you relate? How do you deal with that? Because I've lost children. How do you deal with that? With what you said, that we created, our own energy creates that happens. I mean, how?
I don't know how to deal with it. This is why I'm going to play this reversal. Okay, listen to this. I'm talking to my students about my depression. And I'm saying, well, maybe it's because, I'm very sensitive to energy.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Well, see, I'm very sensitive to energy. I'm ultra sensitive to energy.
Okay, I want to just listen to the emotion in this reversal. It says, my soul gives the pain.
My soul gives the pain.
You hear that?
My soul gives the pain.
You can hear the anguish, can't you?
My soul gives the pain.
I'm crying inside. I heard that reversal, oh man, I just lost it. I just broke down. I booked myself into assess work. This is what I did to get over it. And I booked myself into assess work, went for a round of assessment work, actually 2 rounds actually. And I had a few nasty little patterns running, unfortunately. And after the session work, we found this reversal.
I'm working out all my soul stuff, but look at my weight loss.
I'm working out all my soul stuff, and back, as I say, the soul well.
That's all well. That's all well. That's all well.
So I worked on it.
Well, as in healed?
Yeah, as in healed. Yeah, well as in healed. Yeah. That was a very tough time in my life. Okay. Here's a wonderful reversal. This is on a reverse speech analyst who's talking to his client.
We'll likely get reversals that are pretty clearly from your unconscious mind, your subconscious.
And he says, soul serve you, make you feel love.
Soul serve you, make you feel love. Soul serve you, make you feel love.
This is the therapist you want to work with. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you know that you can be affected by your therapist's reversals? Oh, sure. You can, especially in the therapeutic situation. Sure. You absolutely can. Okay, so let's move on to, here's another client who's talking about having,
I don't get it. Am I turning people off? Is there something that I'm doing subconsciously that's deterring people? I don't know.
I can't remember this client. It says, it must hurt the soul.
It must hurt the soul. It must hurt the soul.
Hear the emotion in the voice too, okay? So this is a sabotage pattern, okay? This is something that she is damaging or hurting her soul itself. The coup de grace. We're getting close to the end of the lecture. Okay, this is a reversal on me. I'm on Rense's show, and I'm talking about the reverse speech.
But some people ask me, does reverse speech endorse any particular religion? And the answer to that is no. There are no deities or religions that reverse speech endorses or says this is right or this is wrong. It just talks about the soul and the endlessness of life. And that in itself is very powerful. Indeed.
So I talk about reverse speech, talk about the soul and the endlessness of life, and backwards it says, it's the voice in heaven.
It's the voice in heaven. The voice in heaven.
That is what reverse speech is. It's the voice in heaven.
It's the voice in heaven. It's the voice in heaven.
That reversal says it all. I can't add to that. It is the voice of a spirit. Reverse speech says heaven lies deep within. The divine lives inside of us. We are all God. We can create we do create our world. We are constantly involved in the process of creation. We just don't know it. We're unconscious to it. Yes?
Well, I think a word in there you heard as endlessness. I think it was inwardness.
Actually, it's endlessness.
It is?
Yeah, because it was me forwards, I know. It's my accent. It is my accent. Yes.
Have you ever used this to get messages from people who are deceased through us?
Oh, you're talking about EVP.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, I haven't. There's a phenomenon called electronic voice phenomenon where you can hear voices of the dead in tape recordings, but I don't work with that. No.
Yeah, no, I was specifically wondering about
Yeah, no, I've never done any work with that. Yes?
Have you ever been threatened by Dick Cheney?
Not that I'm aware of, but it wouldn't surprise me. So, reverse speech is the voice in heaven. It's here at this time in history to help humanity make our next evolution leap. It will allow us to look inside and see that we are co-creators of our world, that we are the divine, that we manufacture and create everything around us. And if we can get a handle on it and learn to control our world, man, it's incredible. Yeah, this is me back in 1988, and right when I first started my work, and someone says, and I say, look, I've just been thrust into this role here. You'll hear it.
Been suddenly thrust into this role where I have people coming to me and saying, David, I want to know what's going on inside my head, and I think, bloody hell, you're asking me, all I do is play backwards, you know. Right. And I'm starting to get it.
And where I say all I do is play tapes backwards, it says, let's look at that, all I am inside.
Then suddenly thrust...
Sorry, here we go.
All I am inside.
So reverse speech is all that we are inside. The conscious mind speaks. If we're lying, we'll get the truth in reverse. The unconscious mind speaks. Oh, hang on. Question. The subconscious mind speaks. I haven't played any examples of this, but you can get lost memories, warnings of physical disease. I've got many instances where reversals have warned someone of a pending physical condition coming up. You've got the unconscious, which is metaphors and human behaviour. You've got the collective unconscious, which I've played you a couple of examples of that. That's tapping into the future. On the highway, there's a chill here, head is hitting the car, and then at the deepest level, it's the soul or the spirit speaking. And so reverse speech is a conglomeration of all that we are. Conscious, unconscious, and soul. It's the most amazing discovery to hit the face of the planet in, I don't know, a long time. Yes, question?
Has the years of listening to reverse speech affected your forward speech?
Well, actually, I can tell you an interesting story about that. I used to have a very bad speech stutter. So bad I literally could not speak, and some of my first lectures were absolutely atrocious in China, and my first radio shows were shocking. I used reverse speech to fix my stutter. It told me what the metaphor was, a broken sword, and sword is a metaphor for communication. So I literally had a sword, saw a broken sword, and fused it together, and it took about a year, but my speech came back to normal again. Yes.
Hey, David.
you mentioned it's the voice of heaven, or like more like universal intelligence, like the truth of the universe.
Yes.
How do you deal with like kids and Santa Claus, or like somebody that is living a lie? Does that come out in our different stages of life and as our beliefs change?
I'm not too sure how to answer that question.
The kids absolutely know there is no Santa Claus, because you've told them in reverse.
How about the
They know
tooth fairy?
From very young, probably from age 1 even.
That's a good answer.
The next
They
phase
know everything. They know the truth.
Right.
No matter what you say forward, they know what you know.
Then how do you apply that to all the religions of the world and the dogmas?
Religions are not going to like reverse speech. The church is not going to like reverse speech one little bit. When I finish my lecture, my formal presentation, I place the reversals on the Pope. Okay, so here we have, this is my last reversal, then I'm going to play a couple of endorsements. This is one of my students in Australia.
I think it's awesome. I think it's in a healing situation, it would be just wonderful to, it's a bit like you cheat. You tell me what's wrong, you tell me how to fix it. How easy is that? So
you tell me what's wrong, you tell me how to fix it. How easy is that? Backwards it says, the source to give help.
The source to give help.
The source to give help. The source to give help.
So, reverse speech. Wow. Where did I go? An incredible technology. The voice of the unconscious mind. It opens us up to the world inside and allows us to see who we really are. Yes?
I'm severely dyslexic. Would this help with that? I mean, for kids. You know,
Oh yeah, of course it would. Absolutely.
Because I know that images came from me first, and I couldn't read till I was 14 years old or do that. So it was images that helped me put it together. But, I don't know how to explain it. But
Yeah, I've never worked with dyslexia, but I'm sure it would work.
I think it would be very good.
Yes.
But there was a point with Santa Claus and religion. And in every religion that, and I don't know a lot of them, but they always say, watch your thoughts. They always say, watch your thoughts. And I have this, from this, I've done some reversals, and it seems to me like you can pick up on somebody else's thought. And I'm wondering, like if you're with somebody and they say this, they say something, but you were thinking it. You say, I was just thinking that.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time.
yeah.
I've got a classic example that illustrates that. I just thought of one that illustrates your exact point you made. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. This is actually I've got several that illustrate your point. Let me see if I can find one real quick. Okay, here we go. Here's a man who's suspected of sending his wife a threatening letter. And the reporter says, would you like to see the letter?
Well, she says it was in your handwriting.
Well, then she should produce that letter, and let's have a look. Have you seen the letter?
Yes, I have. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Okay, where he says, have you seen the letter? She says, oh, do you want to see it?
Yes, I have.
Oh, hang on, no. Have you seen the letter?
Have you seen the letter?
Backwards he says, I want to see that letter.
And
as soon as he says backwards, I want to see that letter, the reporter says...
Yes, I have. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
She says, oh, do you want to see it? So she cues in on his reversal. Says, oh, would you like to see it? She hears it backwards, I want to see the letter. Yes.
That's what I was going to ask, something along those lines. Like, is there anyone without using, let's say, the computer where they can decipher it naturally?
Boy, that's a dangerous question, isn't it? I have developed a hypnotic technique whereby you can program the mind to hear reversals on a conscious level. Yes, it can be done.
That's what I figured. I figured it's like a filter system.
Yeah, it can be done.
It can happen naturally, too.
Is rubber sentence, word, conversation where there are no reversals?
Some media broadcasts will have no reversals. Reverse speech is is a right.
If he's just reading a script.
Yeah, you won't get many reversals in the script.
But I was also heading towards, if someone is pure and godly, let's take St. Francis of Assisi. If you were to try and reverse speech him, would he have a reversal?
Oh, yeah.
And would it be congruent?
That would be
It
congruent.
would always be congruent.
Yeah, it would
If
say
you're
this-
thinking pure thoughts,
Yes.
and you believe what you're saying, you will have reversals, but they're congruent.
They're congruent. They could be mirror image. They may say exactly
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing backwards. So, all right. I want to finish off by playing you a couple of testimonials for the session work, and I'm going to talk about the session work in a sec. Here we go.
I first met David Oates a few years ago when I was invited to an exclusive event about the unconscious mind. And his work, the work of reverse speech technology, blew me away. And without doubt, I knew I had to work with him. What have I gained from working with David? Wow. It's completely changed my life. I wanted at the time to have more money, like 90% of people who work with David. And thanks to working with the reverse speech process, I attracted to me the most amazing opportunity. It's a young British business called Tropic Skincare, and it came to me literally 1 month after it launched in the UK. So I got in at the best time ever. It's joyful, it's easy, it's effortless, and my monthly income has been doubling year on year, and it's forecast to continue doing so. So financially, I'm attracting more and more opportunities. The RST totally worked. I've also had it work with other friends. So, for example, I had a friend who was out of contact with her children for many years, and after working with David, her children got back in contact. It was like a miracle. And another friend who wanted to attract a partner, she worked with David, bingo, she was proposed to. She attracted a man who proposed to her. So, if you want something in your life, then I strongly recommend that you work with David, because David will align your unconscious mind to your conscious desires, and that's all that you need to live the life you want to live.
And that's a very true testimonial.
Did you reverse that?
No, I haven't actually. Yes.
I'm working on a book that has to do with the power of asking questions.
I know.
And so how did the therapist's questions change the reverse speech? So if you ask questions in different ways, you get the same reverse speech.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually teach that in my training course. Yeah, there's certain language you can use that will stimulate certain reversals to occur. For example, if you speak in visual, using visual predicates, you'll mainly get conscious reversals. If you speak using kinesthetic or feeling words, you'll get metaphors. It's a lot more involved than that. But yeah, depending on the way you ask your question and the language you use, you can influence certain reversals to occur, which I teach in my training class.
Cool. In your books, do you have any of that information?
Sorry?
In the books that you brought, do you have any of that?
Yeah, I think...
New theory.
Yeah, new theory, yeah. Okay, so, so two things. Training. I am really looking for people to get trained in this technique. My next course starts October the 7th. It's done online, okay? There's all the information for there is there. If you want a new career, if you want to change the world, then come to reverse speech. You know, session work. I've got flyers up there for session work. I get amazing results. If you've got problems or issues, I can fix them. I really can. I see whole lives turned around. We've got books up there. Go and see Jeff afterwards.
And you do that online, the session work?
Yes. It's all over the phone and Skype. So that's it. Thank you so much for attending.